Welcome back to the Stretch the Floor podcast. My name is Matt, and I am joined, as always, by Venush, and it is day 2 of the NBA playoffs 2020. Yesterday was a really fun day, of day 1 of the bubble playoffs, and at the time of recording, the Pacers are currently up by 2 on the Miami Heat, so really close game in the second quarter there, or first quarter still, actually.
Mhm.
Um, and the 8 seeding games wrapped up just a couple of days ago. By all accounts, the bubble has been a success. So credit to the league and Adam Silver for putting a really good product on the court so far. And there's actually been a lot of surprise performances, both good and bad, through
Yeah,
8 games, and a lot of kind of new players that we didn't really think about before play either really well or some guys failed to meet expectations. So we're both going to go over our winners and losers from the bubble, because I think a lot of guys actually were looking at a lot differently, even just after 8 games. But first, we have to talk about what just happened about 40 minutes ago. The
yeah,
Milwaukee Bucks went down to defeat by 12 points to the Orlando Magic in Game 1
mhm.
of their 1 versus 8 series.
The Orlando Magic without two starters, without Jonathan Isaac and Aaron Gordon.
The two
They
guys that
just,
would be guarding Giannis, not on the
yeah.
floor.
So I guess James Ennis picked up most of the responsibility guarding Giannis. Giannis still shot. He shot under 50%, which is surprising,
Yeah,
but he
very
went three,
surprising.
3 for 7 from the 3-point line, which is pretty good.
Really good for him. But he actually, there was a stretch in the fourth quarter where he went 0 for 5 from the
Yeah,
field and just missed some pretty makeable shots, at least for him.
yeah. But I don't think you could blame Giannis on this one. He still had 31, 17, and 7.
Yeah.
I just think the system around him, like they
Brooke
really
Lopez and Chris
Brook Lopez
Middleton on
just had a
defense,
bad night.
so bad.
He just missed all his threes,
Mm-hmm.
and then he couldn't guard Vucevic at all.
Vucevic, 35 points, 5 for 8 from the 3 point line.
Hmm.
Just a monster performance. And DJ Augustine, is he the best game 1 performer of all time?
But he had a very good performance tonight, and it was kind of needed because, correct me if I'm wrong, he was kind of the biggest playmaker
Yeah.
down the stretch.
Yeah, he was. Led the team in
Yeah.
assists, led both teams in assists. And I mean, I don't know if it's a good sign because we know what happens when you lose game 1 to the Orlando Magic in
Hmm.
the playoffs.
Yeah.
You go on to win the championship.
You
So
go on to win
maybe
the
this is a good sign
championship.
for the Bucks.
Yeah.
Right. So
No,
the
but
other wait, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say DJ Augustine might be a sneaky six-man pickup for some team this coming
I
offseason.
was thinking the exact same thing. Yeah.
Like if I
So,
was the Warriors, I would love to have him backing up
oh man,
Steph. Yeah,
that'd be crazy. Or even like the Lakers or something.
yeah. He might start for the Lakers.
Yeah, he probably would.
Yeah.
Man. And so I mean the other biggest story is last night Kristaps Porzingis ejected in the third quarter on his second technical foul,
Hmm.
and the Mavs, maybe they'd still go on to lose, but the Mavs lose a close one to the Clippers. Paul George had to hit a clutch 3 down the stretch. What are your thoughts?
Man, a lot of people are saying that's rigging, and they're getting on the NBA pretty heavily for that. I wouldn't go that far. I just think it was really, really, really bad referee decision.
Yeah, for me the first tech is worse because it was clearly a clean block,
Hmm.
and that tech is not called on every player. Like Patrick Beverly would not get called for that tech, right? Or Jimmy Butler probably wouldn't get called for that tech. Like just waving your hand at the ref after getting called for a foul, which was, if they had reviewed it, they would have overturned it.
Yeah,
So I don't like that tech. And I guess he did go in to escalate the situation when Luca and Marcus Morris were kind of going at it. But I mean, did he really deserve 2 techs in that game?
no, that definitely was a bad call. I think that was one of the worst technical decisions that I can recall since like Tim Duncan laughing on the bench and getting a tech.
Yeah.
Like, because that cost him the game, and that was just everyone besides those three referees
Mm-hmm.
thought that was an attack.
Yeah. And it wasn't even like we've seen a lot of techs in the bubble just because the referees can
Hmm.
actually hear the players, but it wasn't even one of those. This was just straight up bad refereeing.
Yeah, this one was horrible. That's why a lot of people are saying they rigged it and everything. I wouldn't go that far,
Yeah,
but I think the NBA needs to talk to all the refs
I
because
agree.
this technical situation is kind of getting out of hand. We didn't come to see the referees decide the game.
Yeah.
We came to see the players decide the game. So I
I
don't know.
mean,
I don't
Doc
think
even
either.
Doc Rivers said it. He said, "I don't like Porzingis being out. I'd rather
Yeah.
him be on the floor against us."
Hmm.
And I don't know about you, but I was pleasantly surprised with Luka's performance being guarded by probably the two best defenders in the league to guard him. Still dropping 42, an efficient 42. I mean, he had 11 turnovers, one off of
Yeah.
James Harden's record, but still, a lot of those came early on. He played a lot better down the stretch.
Yeah. I want to see Luka Doncic have less turnovers in the beginning half of the game, because whenever he's on with Porzingis, it always seems like he just comes a little
Hmm.
more predictable.
Yeah,
Like you see if he's gonna go for a shot or pass to Porzingis, and you see as Porzingis exited the game, he just said, "I'm gonna do whatever is like
yeah.
open,
He
whatever's
went
coming
up a
to
level,
me."
just started being aggressive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I don't know what type of relationship they have or like if he's overthinking it personally,
could
but
be.
Luka Doncic has to get that sorted out because if they want to beat the Clippers, he cannot have 10 turnovers, 11
No,
turnovers.
no way.
Yes, like I get that he's the main ball handler and he's gonna have 5 or 6 no matter what
Yeah,
because
of
it's
course.
Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and Patrick Beverly, but he cannot get into that double digit level because that's gonna always cost him the game.
Yeah. And do you think that their defense actually got better when Porzingis was out? I know they
Oh,
lose his rim protection. They lost a lot of rebounding.
yeah,
Zubats was kind of going crazy on the glass, but I mean, man, their defense even before he went out was so bad that game.
yeah. But the thing was, their offense was so good
It was
when you were
so
in the
good.
game.
Way better than expected for me.
Yeah, their offense was basically as good as it was in the regular season, which
Yeah.
is pretty surprising for a playoff team to
Mhm.
like carry out the efficiency and the numbers. So I don't know, like obviously it was a big loss, but you could see MKG coming in and even Boban for a couple spurts really kind of slow down the pace of the game.
Mhm.
But I don't know if the Mavericks want to do that. So
Yeah, I definitely not.
yeah,
And yeah, so like you said, their offensive I mean, they were the top offense like in history this regular season, and
yeah,
they continue that in Game 1 against the Clippers. The one team I would have picked that could have shut their offense down,
hmm,
and it just didn't happen. And it's not because Porzingis was posting up like some people predict. He was being
yeah,
the old Porzingis, shooting three after three, and yeah, Luka just 42 points, efficient night for him. Really, just really good performance. First playoff debut, most I think it's what is it, the second most points ever in a playoff debut. Just
yeah.
really impressive.
I think with Porzingis, we got to just come to the acceptance that even if he's 7 for 3, he
Mhm.
doesn't need to post up.
No.
Like we've seen him put it on the like floor and even get
Mhm.
Kawhi slipping, which was a very
Yeah.
that might be Porzingis is like one of his most iconic moments of his career so
It
far.
honestly probably is.
Yeah, so like, man, maybe he's just a 7 for 3 small forward who
Maybe he
plays
is. Yeah.
centers and guard center.
He just he even if he doesn't start posting up guys and just stays
Yeah.
the same offensively, if he can just clean up that, especially the pick and roll defense
Hmm.
on the other end, then he can probably be a good enough second best player for the Mavs
For
to
a
win a
championship
championship
team.
down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just this Maverick team, I just think they're lacking one more playmaker.
Mhm.
I know it's supposed to be Curry, but he's just not good
Mm.
enough in my opinion.
No.
So yeah, I think they're just lacking one more playmaker to beat this team because you could see when Luka Doncic ball doesn't have touch like the play's kind of scattered and it's not
Yeah,
really
definitely.
the
Another
biggest thing.
playmaker and a better shooting wing defender because Finney Smith is a pretty
Yeah,
good defender, but he's not a good enough shooter. So they need just
Tim
basically
Hardaway
Finney
Jr.
Smith. Tim Hardaway Jr., yeah.
He did
He's a
really well.
really good offensive player, yeah.
If you just he did really well last night too. He picked up his
Mhm.
defense. If you just keep that consistently,
Yeah.
they could definitely improve.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I was not expecting to see the third most points ever scored in a playoff game going into yesterday. In the first
Yeah,
game of the playoffs, the 1:30 Eastern game, Donovan Mitchell 57 points.
yeah.
Went into overtime, but still. And they
We
needed
always
every single one when they still lost.
and they still
So,
lost. Yeah, we always talk about how bad this Denver team is on defense, and I guess Donovan Mitchell was really able to expose that
yeah.
because he was just doing whatever he wanted. Like
Mhm.
he was just, oh, three, I'm gonna shoot one three. Like I'm gonna drive to the paint. Uh, it felt like the Nuggets focused on really just getting Rudy Gobert out of the game, which they
Yeah,
kind of did,
they
which did
did.
work out for them. They did win, but they need to shore up that guard defense because Jamal Murray's not going to guard him, but
No
Tony
way.
Craig has to do a better job. Like that's his job.
Yeah, and I like Torrey Craig, but
Yeah,
yeah, Donovan Mitchell was just getting, especially as the game went on, just whatever he wanted.
yeah. He was
Wasn't
just
even just going straight to the rim. Didn't even shoot that many threes.
yeah,
Made the ones that he took, but yeah. And Jamal Murray had a classic Jamal Murray game where he started off pretty hot and then disappeared for 2 quarters and then came back in
what,
the fourth quarter and overtime and just carried them to victory.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
if Jamal Murray plays like that, the Nuggets are just a totally different team.
yeah. If Jamal Murray could play like a consistent game, he might be the
Yeah,
best player in the NBA.
literally.
Like during like stints, he's just so amazing and like he's crazy, and you're like, man, this guy could be like the Canadian Curry.
Yeah,
And then during other stints, he just like stands around on the 3 point line, waiting for Jokic to do everything.
just disappears for 2 quarters. But I mean, it was
Yeah,
him who closed the game for them down the stretch and not Jokic.
yeah,
Jokic didn't play bad; he had a good game, but it was Murray. And
hmm
if Murray can give them that more nights than not, the Nuggets are just a totally different looking team.
yeah, yeah. They could definitely challenge either the Houston Rockets or Thunder,
Yeah,
but they're versing the Clippers in the second round, so that's still gonna be tough for them.
yeah. Still,
Yeah,
I mean, they have the advantage with Jokic over
hmm
Zubats or Harrell, but other than that, they don't have the bodies to throw at Paul George and Kawhi.
yeah.
And
If
Patrick Beverly's a really good defender. Throw on Jamal Murray, so
yeah, and if Donovan Mitchell, one player, is able to do this much damage,
yeah,
Paul
yeah,
George, Kawhi, Lou William, oh, that's
yeah.
gonna be tough.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
really, really tough. But so, what do you think about this Jazz series? You think it's a 5 game series for the Nuggets, or do you think the Jazz take a couple?
no, I think it's a 4 game sweep after that.
I predicted a 4 game sweep, but I was kind of surprised by how well the Jazz were playing. No, neither
Seven
team
points
was
though.
playing good defensively,
Yeah,
but I mean, you're not going to get 57 from
yeah. You're not
Denver
getting
again.
57 again.
You'll be lucky to get 30 average
Yeah.
for the rest of the series. So yeah, that's definitely fair. And the other 2 games were kind of boring last night. The Celtics uh, beat actually a really close
That
game
was
against
a
the
really close
Sixers.
game. Yeah.
It was a close game. I mean, you got to say, really, really unfortunate. He just can't seem to avoid injuries. Gordon Hayward injured his other ankle. Thankfully, it's his other
hmm
ankle.
Yeah.
Grade 3 sprain, going to be out for at least 4 weeks. What do you think this? Do you think this affects the Celtics' uh, Eastern Conference Finals hopes or title hopes at all?
So
Definitely does.
does this mean he misses the entire Raptor series or just the first 2 games?
Well, if he's out for
That,
4 weeks, he would miss probably the whole series. Maybe if it went really far, maybe he'd be back by the end.
yeah. If he's out for the whole series, the Raptors shouldn't lose.
No.
Like it's gonna be tough because now like that switchability in this. I don't know. Marcus Smart's really good, but now they just have no
hmm
bench anymore with Gordon
Yeah,
Hayward
you're
out.
right. I don't think the starting lineup gets any worse. Honestly might get better, especially
Yeah.
defensively with Smart
Yeah.
in there. But right, that they already lack depth, and having like Brad Wanamaker be your best player off the bench is not
Very
going to
not
be
really
fun.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
yeah, no, go ahead.
yeah, I just think with the lack of bench, it's gonna be tough. But I honestly think Marcus Smart was gonna start for that Raptor series anyways,
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah.
because there's 2 guards on the Raptors, and kind of when you shut out Kyle Lowry, the Raptors kind of suck.
hmm
So I really think Marcus Smart was gonna start that series. But losing
Yeah.
a 6 man, uh, the caliber of Gordon Hayward is tough because he was an easy 20-point scorer
hmm
against the Raps. Like if like he scored a lot against the Raps.
Yeah.
I don't know if he actually averaged 20 points, but like he was really getting the flow of the game and everything. So it's a tough loss.
Yeah, and in a really close series like that, even if like Gordon Hayward, you want to say would have been the fourth or fifth best player in that series, it's still a huge loss and could be the difference in the series and probably will. Um,
Yeah.
but as for the rest of the Celtics, Kemba looked healthy last night
hmm
against
He
the
looked really good.
Sixers,
Yeah.
and the Sixers were up actually into the third quarter, into the fourth quarter they were up. Embiid had a pretty good game. He started off really hot and then kind of slowed down. I'd like to
Well,
see him get the ball over and over and over in the post, but the Celtics were doing a good job
what were
denying
they?
that, or Brett Brown just wasn't calling good
Yeah,
plays.
I just think it was Brett Brown passing it into him.
Yeah,
And I think this is Brett Brown's last series
it has to
because
be.
I honestly like with Joel Embiid's post game comments saying
Yeah.
I need to do more, I need to get the ball more. That's kind of like a message to Brett Brown, like Simmons is not here anymore. Jimmy Butler's not here anymore.
hmm
Like I'm the best player on this team, and it's
By
like
far.
everyone knows that. He's like, "Well, I don't know what you're doing. Give me the ball." Like you could see Al Horford getting some
hmm
touches that where it's like Joel Embiid's like, "Man, those should be my touches." And I don't know. This is Brett Brown's last series, in my opinion. I know
100%.
Ben Simmons loves him, but Ben Simmons cannot keep. I don't think Ben Simmons could save him anymore.
No, he definitely can't. When you have 7'1" Joel Embiid, one of the best post players in the NBA, and
Hmm.
Daniel Tice is the best guy the other team has to guard him, and you have no player on your team even close to as good as Embiid on the offensive end, there's no excuse to not just be giving him the ball down low every single time down the floor.
Yeah, he
And
should.
literally any other coach in the NBA would be calling that
Yeah,
right now.
like I was surprised he had what only 15 shots
I
in the
know,
first game.
I know.
I think he should be averaging 22 to like 25 shots
Yeah,
this
he should.
series. Yeah, and honestly, this series and Joel Embiid surprised me. I think the Sixers have a chance to push this 7.
I mean, that's what I thought too. Watching the first half, I thought the Sixers played
Hmm.
really well. I like what Thibault gave them. Horford played really well, actually.
Yeah, Shake
And
Milton
yeah,
kind of played horrible though.
yeah,
His defense was very atrocious, to say the least. So I don't know. Maybe
hmm
I think they had to close with Matisse on the court just for that
over
defense
Shake Milton.
over Shake. Yeah, Alex Burks, amazing. He
He's
kind of
so good.
sucked. He kind of sucked pre-bubble with the
Yeah,
Sixers,
yeah,
but in the bubble he's kind of been pretty good. So I think that's their closing lineup. I think you have to put Matisse on the point guard.
hmm
You have to put Josh Richardson on the shooting guard, which is going to be Marcus Smart. You have to put Tobias Harris on like Jalen Brown. This is a bad matchup. Al Horford on Jason Tatum,
so bad.
but then you at least get Joel Embiid on Daniel Tice. And the thing
Yeah,
about Al Horford is he played pretty good defense
he
on
did.
Tatum. Tatum did
Yeah,
score a lot and get a lot of points,
Tatum went off. Yeah.
but Tatum was made tough shots. I don't think that was
hmm
Al Horford's
Yeah.
fault.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're
So
right.
I would love to see. I would love to see that. I would love to see that closing lineup. You can obviously start Shake to get the offense flowing and everything,
Mhm.
but I would love to see that closing lineup and just throw it into Embiid and everyone else stay at the 3 point line.
Yeah. The worst thing that can happen for the Sixers team is to go 7 and people will say, "Oh, like no Ben Simmons, maybe Brett Brown, give him one more chance." You know,
Yeah, that
and
would be
then
horrible.
it'd be the same story again next year. He needs to be out of town ASAP. They should fire him right now and just
I think Brett Brown and Tobias Harris needs to be out of town. Those
yeah,
two, those guys. Tobias Harris just doesn't fit on this team. He's a
no, not at
power
all. I've
forward.
said that from day one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a power forward. He's not the greatest shooter, but he's a good shooter.
hmm
He needs to be on a team where he's like the third option, but not the closer, because he's considered the closer on this team, and I don't like that personally.
No, me neither.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of trades. Even though his contract is terrible, there's a lot. There are options out there like OKC comes to mind, Sacramento comes to mind. There's options out there to get rid of them.
yeah.
But
Sacramento's my favorite landing spot for
yeah,
him because that Harrison Barnes and uh, Corey Joseph contracts are
mm,
pretty bad, and you could throw in like a Buddy Hield,
Buddy
and
Hield.
then they create enough cap space to re-sign
hmm
Bogdanovich. So I like that trade.
Yeah,
I can't see a Chris Paul swap just because I honestly think Tobias Harris's contract's worse than Chris Paul's.
it is. It is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I can't see that happening. But I would love to see a Buddy Hield on the Sixers team.
yeah. I mean, that's a discussion for another day, but
Yeah.
definitely, I'd love to see that. So the only other game that went down yesterday is the Raptors wiped the floor with the Brooklyn Nets. It was close at one point. Anything you need to say about that?
Pascal Siakam is not who he was before the bubble. Uh,
Not at all.
bubble, bubble Siakam is not an all-star.
Bubble Siakam is probably the fourth or fifth best player on the Raptors.
Yeah, bubble Siakam should not be compared to Jason Tatum.
No, not
Uh,
even close.
yeah, bubble Siakam just sucks to be honest.
and we're gonna get into him in our winners and losers. So
Yeah,
we'll hold that for now. And I think it probably is time. Those are all the games that went on. Let me check the score in that Heat game right now. It's
the
currently
the
Heat
Heat
are
are down.
down by 1
Yeah,
with 6 minutes left in the second quarter. So we'll get back to that. But yeah, all right. So bubble winners and losers. What do you want to start with? Winners or losers?
I guess we could start with the obvious winners,
The obvious ones.
the
Yeah.
Phoenix Suns. Even though
Okay.
even though they went 8-0, they still didn't make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But to say they're not winners, it would be a lie because people know who Mikal Bridges is now. People
Mm-hmm.
know who Cam Johnson is now. People know how good DeAndre Ayton is now.
Yeah.
Devin Booker went from All Star to potential MVP.
Potential. Yeah.
So like, and Ricky Rubio proved that he's still one of the best passing point guards in the league right now. I know he averages the second most assists, but people were still underrating him before this bubble.
Mm-hmm. Shot the
So
three surprisingly well in the bubble.
yeah, shot the three amazing in the bubble. And correct me if I'm, they didn't have Aaron Baines play this bubble too.
He he didn't play early on. He came back a little bit later.
Yeah,
Actually, did he even? I don't
I don't think he
honestly.
played this
I
bubble.
should know that.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah.
when they get their bench around them too, and they re-sign the players they have, and they kind of just let these young group of players grow together. They also have another pick in case they want to make a trade for a veteran off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Like this team has potential to make the playoffs next year.
Yeah.
The only
Oh,
reason I'm saying
definitely.
potential is because the Golden State Warriors are back too,
Mm-hmm.
so that's gonna be a little tough. But man, the West is gonna be fun next year. That's what the Phoenix
Yeah.
Suns said. That's what the
Yeah.
Phoenix Suns showed.
There could be like one or two bad teams in the West, and there could be 13 really good playoff caliber teams. That
Yeah,
could be really fun.
yeah,
And I think you're right. I think every person on the Suns is a winner in this. Like obviously Booker, Aiton played really good defense and became a problem offensively.
yeah,
Um, and even Cameron Payne wasn't even signed
yeah,
before the bubble. Came off the bench looking like a pretty decent backup point guard.
yeah,
11 points a game in the bubble, 52% from three. I mean, and Cam Johnson looked pretty good. Like you said, Ricky Rubio, I think he was definitely underrated and looks like a really solid, just traditional point guard. If you
yeah.
have like, especially if you have a player like Booker who crunch time is going to be the guy with the ball in his hands, Rubio is like a perfect guy for you to have. And then, yeah, Monty Williams. I mean,
Oh
probably going
yeah,
to be regarded as a top 10 at least coach in the NBA after this. We all saw that post
100%.
game speech he gave to his team. And yeah, just the entire organization has to be winners for sure. Especially even with those like family intros they did, they started that
Yeah,
trend. Like everything's just positive for the Suns right now.
yeah.
Finally.
My favorite player from this bubble Suns is definitely Cam Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you told me Cam Johnson, because he didn't start during the season, because
No,
Kelly Oubre.
it was Oubre, yeah.
So I thought Cam Johnson was a good bench player, but I thought that was his maximum like ability. I thought,
Mm-hmm.
hey, maybe he could come into like a good sixth man role. But after this bubble, like I think he's like a really good stretch for
I
with his
agree.
switch ability, his defense, his
Switchability,
rebounding.
rebounding is he's such a good
Surprisingly,
rebounder. Yeah,
like yeah, I'm so surprised he was such a good rebounder. So I think his stock rose the most because
mm-hmm.
obviously Devin Booker's stock was already really
Obviously.
high, and DeAndre Ayton's stock was really high too. So his stock definitely rose the most, and I think he really proved that I'm a starting caliber player. And now, remember, I don't know what they're gonna do with Kelly Oubre now, to be honest,
Yeah, I
because
know.
they have Kelly Oubre and the pick, which they could trade for
It's a
someone.
good problem to have, but yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know
but
what they're gonna
like,
do.
it's an amazing problem to have. This team is
Yeah,
gonna be, it's interesting. It's everyone's,
really, really interesting team. There's gonna be a lot of
yeah,
trade machine posts we're gonna see from people trying
from the
to
Phoenix Suns. Yeah,
make the Phoenix Suns contenders. And I
yeah,
think another team that didn't make the playoffs that has some winners is the Spurs. Greg Popovich is a winner from this. Greg Popovich is still the best coach in the NBA. If you didn't know,
yeah,
um, played DeMar DeRozan at the four, and it worked really well. DeMar DeRozan, I think,
hmm
is another winner from this bubble. He averaged 22 points, which is not that crazy, but 58% from the field is.
yeah,
And he could have been a lot more aggressive. Some games he took like 8 shots, and but he closed the games for them, and he looked really good. So I think he's definitely a winner.
yeah. I think this really I think it's kind of a win-win situation for the Spurs because they finally
Mm-hmm.
have a lottery pick.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when the Spurs have lottery pick, it turns out to be at least a good rotational player.
Yeah.
And even if they didn't play like LaMarcus Aldridge and stuff, I feel like their trade value for like DeMar DeRozan increased. The trade value from other veterans like Rudy Gay increased so slightly.
Mm-hmm.
So if they want to blow up the team, I feel like they could.
Yeah.
And I feel like they have enough young potential now, young potential like pieces with another, if they acquire more from the trades of DeMar and LaMarcus Aldridge, where they could still be competitive, but
Yeah.
now fully young players. Because DeJounte Murray looked like a starting point guard in my
He
opinion.
did. He did.
Derek White
Derek
looked like a
White,
starting shooting guard, in
Keldon
my opinion.
Johnson played well.
Yeah, Calvin
Uh,
Johnson looked like a great small forward.
Lonnie
When it was small
Walker,
forward,
young player, looks pretty good too.
looked pretty good. Jakob Poeltl, I know he had the
Jakob Pertl is a
re-signing.
winner from this because we know a lot about him because he used to play for our Raptors and he was never that good on the Raptors, but he got even worse when he got to the Spurs, just getting no minutes.
Yeah,
But now he started every game. He got into some foul trouble, especially early on, but he played really
yeah,
well. Some really good defense, gave them some good screens, and just does a lot of things on the offensive end, even though he can't shoot.
yeah. Like Jakob Poeltl, yeah, as long as he works on I guess his defensive IQ, just getting less fouls this
Mm-hmm.
off season, he could be one of the great, not great, but one of the really good, solid young
Yeah,
centers who
he
just
could be
do
a
their
solid.
role,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
kind of like a Clint Capella. I think that's who
Mm-hmm.
someone he could kind of shape his career after. But the
Yeah.
Spurs have a future again, which is kind of crazy to say because before the bubble, we'd be like, oh man, what are they going to do? And now they kind of
Yeah.
have a clear path
Yeah.
to,
No, you're right because the future was really unclear for them coming into the bubble, but now it's a little
yeah,
more clear. It's they're probably, even if they don't blow it up, they're not making the playoffs next year. I know I never want to say that about a Greg Popovich team,
yeah,
but probably not. So it's probably the time to trade because DeRozan is going to pick up his player option.
28 million,
Um,
100%.
and it's time to blow it up.
Yeah,
By blowing it up, it means like trade two guys that are on like the last couple of years of their deals who are over 30. That's not even that crazy of a move to make. They have some really good young players, like you said. Only thing is, Pirtle is an RFA this year, and I can see teams offering him
can you?
some decent money. I don't know. He played pretty
I
well.
I can't see a team besides the Spurs really being able to know how to utilize him personally because
That's fair.
people like Andre Drummond are going to go for pretty cheap if he doesn't
Yeah,
pick up his player option.
you're
And I
right.
think teams would rather just get Andre Drummond.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Pirtle's like, even though he can do a lot of things, like he's not a very traditional player. He's kind of weird,
yeah,
and it's gonna take it takes a team that knows him to get the most out of him. So maybe you're right. Maybe it's the Spurs that just hang on to him.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, probably the biggest winners from all of this is Damian Lillard and the Portland Trail
Portland
Blazers.
Trailblazers. It, I think the whole roster is a winner besides CJ McCollum because playing with a broken back, it's kind of scary to do.
Kind of
And
scary, but I mean,
one fall could really change his whole career.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
that happened to Isaiah Thomas. He played with, correct me if, I think he played with a broken back and something kind of happened and his career got shut down. So I hope nothing happens to him.
hmm
Uh, a big winner for us uh, is Carmelo Anthony because he revived his career. He's going to end on a positive note of his career.
yeah. I mean, I can even see him having a couple more years after this. He's playing. He looks pretty
Yeah,
good. He looks really good.
yeah, he's really
And
clutch.
yeah, Gary Trent Jr. having just an awesome bubble, be one of the best shooters in the bubble so far, hitting
Yeah,
clutch shots down the stretch. And Nurkic came back off that injury, looks even better than he ever has. That
yeah.
game, the playing game was the best I've ever seen him play. That was just like a perfect game from him. That was insane.
His defense was kind of bad that game though,
Okay, his defense was really bad, and
because
it's gonna
JV,
look even worse against Anthony
yeah,
Davis. But
because Jonas Valanciunas is not Anthony Davis. I think as Raptors fans, we could vouch for that.
yeah,
And if Jonas Valanciunas is having his way in a game like that, it's going to be scary when Anthony Davis has the opportunity to play. But if the Lakers go with two starting centers, maybe you can have Hassan Whiteside help him out,
hmm
which would be
yeah,
really
that's fair.
helpful.
Yeah,
But man, Damian Lillard, I think he's finally broken into the conversation with Steph Curry now.
I agree.
because it's
Yeah.
always been Curry, everyone else, and then
Mhm.
there was like Westbrook, Dame, Kyrie, and
Yeah.
all those guys.
He is
I think he's
definitely
kind of
elevated
yeah,
above Kyrie and Westbrook.
Westbrook, and I think he's in the same tier as Steph Curry now,
I think so. At least
and
right now.
that's an accomplishment because Steph Curry, in our opinion, is the second or third best point guard of all time, and
Yeah.
for Dame just to do that, like I think it's
Has
time to like acknowledge how good he is.
has Curry ever, I mean, like, this is Dame's peak. This is the best he's ever played, and obviously Curry has done closer to this level over a longer period of time than Dame, but
Yeah,
this peak right now, like, this is pretty much as good as Curry ever played.
yeah. This is 2016 Curry when he was
Yeah.
unanimous MVP.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, the only difference was Curry did it on a 73 and 9-win team that went to the finals
Mhm.
and blew a 3-1 lead, and Dame's doing it on an 8 seed team, so that's why people
Yeah.
still have Curry above him, which so do I.
Yeah.
But
But they're on the same
that was
tier.
also four
They're
years ago, so
Yeah.
people have to acknowledge that like Steph Curry might not be the same player
Mhm.
he was before Kevin Durant. So it's
Yeah.
going to be interesting to see next season when Curry returns and they can kind of go off each
Mhm.
other and see who scores more threes and has a better output.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I definitely it's going to be, yeah, really interesting to see that next year, cuz next year could be the year that Dame elevates himself
surpasses.
above
Yeah,
Curry
yeah,
and becomes the best small point guard in the league.
yeah.
So,
Besides LeBron James,
I
obviously.
like best small point guard,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
not, yeah. And but you don't have the Blazers beating the Lakers. They play tonight at 9 o'clock.
yeah. I think it's going to be a 4-game sweep. Maybe it's 5 game
That's a hot
sweep
take.
because maybe the Trailblazers could steal the first game.
Mhm.
But if JV is giving you that much trouble and
Yeah.
uh, John Morant is cutting to the rim how easy he is,
Mhm.
imagine LeBron James cutting to the rim how easy that's going to be, and imagine how Anthony Davis is going to do on the
Mhm.
offensive side.
Yeah.
And
And you're
this
not going
Lake,
to see that kind of offensive game from Nurkic against the bigs that the Lakers can throw.
yeah,
It's
and
going to
this
be
Lakers,
The Damon CJ show.
yeah, it's going to be Dame and CJ. That's it. So can Dame and CJ outproduce
It just
LeBron and
comes down
AD?
to whether how many of those 30 footers is Dame hitting, and how many shots is Gary Trent Jr. making, how many shots is CJ McCall making. That's what it's going to come down to. If they shoot 50-60% one day, they're going to win. But if they shoot a normal percent, they're probably going to lose.
I also have to say it's pretty hard when like LeBron locks in and everything. It's going to be pretty hard for Melo to really go off too.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you're right.
like it's just tough, man. Like when we're doing duos, which is what like pretty much this matchup
Mhm.
is going to come up to. I
Mhm.
don't think I'm taking a duo to ever even take a game off LeBron and AD because
No. Yeah.
that's all they have really. And if they could produce other teams to just be a duo as well, it's gonna be tough.
You're right. If they are going to win a game, though, I think it's going to be tonight, game one.
Yeah, I think so too. The Lakers rust with resting
Yeah.
a bunch of players all the time,
Yeah.
and the like Dame and CJ being so hot from three.
Mhm.
Like today is their chance, but I just can't see it happening. Like
Yeah.
Dame has to lose eventually. He has to have a cold game, and I
Mhm.
think when LeBron
Yeah,
James
he
and
has to cool
like
off at some point.
because we also have to remember, yes, Danny Green sucks on the offensive side this season and in the bubble,
Mhm.
but he's, in my opinion, he's still an all-time defender on small guards. Like he's so good at guarding small
He is.
guards.
Yeah. Especially come playoff time. We
Yeah,
saw that last year.
like him and Fred VanVleet were guarding the
Stephen
Splash
Clay.
Bros, Steph and
Yeah.
Clay, pretty well.
Mhm.
Obviously, Clay
Yeah.
got hurt, but like they were doing a good job.
Mhm.
And I think Danny Green, even if he's able to slow down CJ McCollum, is just going to put more and more pressure on Dame. It's just going to be
Yeah,
tough.
you're right.
Yeah,
Exactly. I mean, like, the teams that the Blazers have been going off against are not some of the best defensive teams in the league. The Brooklyn Nets, the
yeah,
Memphis Grizzlies, like, these are not good examples of what playoff basketball is going to look like.
yeah. And LeBron's going to post up a lot, and I don't really see
Hmm.
like Carmelo. Like I don't think he
Carmelo,
can.
Gary Trent Jr. No.
Gary Trent Jr. is just too small.
Yeah,
At this series, they're going to miss Trevor Ariza a lot,
a lot.
which just it's just kind of sad because if they
Hmm.
honestly, if Trevor Ariza was in this series, I see a 6-7 game series where like I still would be surprised if the Trailblazers win. I'm not going to say Trevor Ariza swings it, but a 7 game series would be my prediction instead of like
Hmm.
a 4 to 5 game series.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that. And three guys, pretty obvious guys who have had really, really good bubbles are obviously T.J. Warren
Hmm.
and Michael Porter Jr. and Karis LeVert.
Yeah.
I think we all knew Karis LeVert was going to have a good bubble,
Yeah.
but T.J. Warren and PJ have been pleasant surprises, at least for me.
Yeah. Yeah. MPJ proved that he is worth all the hype that the Nuggets put on
Hmm.
him, saying he's untouchable, him, Jokic, and Murray. So like he's proved that he's worth all that hype. He's playing decent in the playoffs as well for this first half.
Yeah,
He
he
has
played a good first half, but
yeah, he's
hit,
at 9 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 for 9 shooting. Pretty
but
decent.
he's so bad defensively. They had to. He stopped hitting his shots, and when he stopped hitting shots, he just automatically got pulled out because his defense is just unplayable. If he's not
Yeah, he
making shots, he cannot be on the floor.
yeah, he got 4 steals this game. So he's definitely trying his hardest on the
Yeah,
defensive
he's
end because it's
trying.
playoff time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just think what this Pacers team and TJ Warren showed for this bubble is that TJ Warren can play the power forward.
Hmm.
I think that's what that showed. And I think when Sabonis returns, it's just
Yeah,
bye bye Miles Turner, in my opinion.
it has to be. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, my Sabonis, T.J. Warren at the four, and then the backcourt of hopefully a more healthy Oladipo, and then Malcolm Brogdon. Like that could be a really fun team, at least offensively and
yeah.
defensively.
Right now they're doing Aaron Holiday, Victor Oladipo, Brogdon as point guard, shooting guard, small forward,
Hmm.
and then TJ Warren at power forward and Miles Turner at center.
Hmm.
So maybe even like getting a better point guard instead of Aaron Holiday, like a Drew Holiday maybe,
Hmm.
could be like really
Well,
interesting
they have to
take.
keep Aaron. If they're getting Drew, they have to keep Aaron, so like they can have all three.
Yeah,
There's
of
no
all
way.
three
Like,
brothers, that would be amazing.
absolutely not giving up Aaron in a trade for Drew.
Yeah, but Miles Turner, they could easily get rid of him,
Yeah.
and maybe that's something. I don't know how they'll work it out, but it'll be interesting. I think this Pacers team has a lot of potential,
Hmm.
and I don't know. I love what TJ Warren got to them because he just showed that he could he could guard power forwards. I know he doesn't do the greatest job at them, but
I
like
mean, like
besides top tiers,
how many teams have a power forward over 6'8" these days? Like, really, six foot
Siakam's
eight,
what,
six
six
eight,
nine?
6'9". Yeah,
Yeah,
but he could guard Siakam. Siakam sucks.
yeah. Like just I think the only one is Anthony Davis.
Yeah, but I mean, we're all calling for Davis to be a five, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like Jason Tatum's a four. You know, yeah. Um, but yeah, I think also he fits really nicely beside Sabonis. If Sabonis is playing the five like he should, and then we have Warren at the four, I think they fit really nicely together offensively because Sabonis is a really good playmaker out of that five spot, and Warren just takes efficient, high percentage shots and is good getting to his spots and can do a lot of different things. And I think that just look really fun.
yeah. So another loser in this bubble is definitely West Westbrook because
Mm-hmm.
that thigh injury couldn't come at the worst time because OKC is not a pushover. They're not a walkover,
Mm-hmm.
and that matchup's going to be tough now without
Yeah,
Westbrook, in my
I
opinion.
mean, we had it going seven with a healthy Westbrook, both of us.
Mhm.
So I don't even know what to predict now.
I still have it going 7 because I just believe that much in James Harden. I
Yeah,
think
because
he's
Harden will
one of the
just take
best.
twice the amount of shots now.
Yeah,
So
and he's rested, which is
yeah.
something playoff Harden is
Hmm.
never like rested. So man, I just can't see that Houston team going out without a fight. But I'm leaning towards the Thunder now. Before I
Oh yeah.
was leaning
So am
towards
I.
the Rockets. I think it's OKC in 7, which is just such a disappointment in my opinion because
I
I would
know.
love to see that I would love to see that Houston Rockets team go up against the Lakers.
I know. I know. We're gonna be deprived of that.
Yeah.
That was one of the series we were looking forward to the most, and
Hmm.
yeah, this injury is just that just sucks. Yeah, I agree. It's probably gonna be OKC. It probably still goes seven,
Yeah.
possibly six, but yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's so bad. I mean, Hayward injured is potentially series changing, potential even like finals changing. Same with Westbrook. They weren't going to go to the finals, but yeah, that just sucks. Two huge injuries right at the beginning of the playoffs. You
Yeah.
don't want to see that. And
Yeah.
I think I guess we're on the losers now. We don't really need to talk too much about Karis LeVert. We all knew he was really good.
Yeah, we all knew he was going to produce well.
And the biggest loser, I want to say Siakam as the biggest loser, but I think it has to be Lonzo Ball.
Oh yeah,
Lonzo Ball
people.
was so bad. I thought he was going to have a really good bubble, and I thought he was going to
Yeah,
be really good next season,
a
but
lot
he
of people
was
were
so
high on
bad.
him because of Zion, obviously, and like
Yeah.
the. But he sucked, man. Like
7.1 points per game, a whopping 7 points a game in the bubble. You love to see that.
he sucked. Like he was so bad. Honestly, he might have been the worst player in the bubble.
He probably was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one
Man,
thing that surprised me was he wasn't even good defensively.
no. That's the one thing he's always had that could keep him on the floor, um, both for the Lakers and the Pelicans. And if you're averaging 7 points a game and not playing defense, are you even a North America player? Like, are you even a G League player?
Yeah, man. Like he wasn't even shooting the three well too. Like he
Yeah.
wasn't shooting the three well. He wasn't passing that well.
I don't know what it was because he seems like a guy who's like in the gym and has a good work ethic. So I don't know. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like my potential on him dropped a lot just off these 8 games.
Me too.
Because if you're gonna go through ups and downs, I don't think you're a starting point guard on a championship team
Mm-hmm.
ever,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
No, I know. I mean, he is obviously still young,
Hmm.
but 7 points a game. Like I can't get over that. No, just and not able to shoot.
Yeah,
Just yeah, like
you can't be a point guard who's like bad on a championship team anymore. Like your
no,
point
you
guard
can't.
has to be your third or second best player on your
Yeah,
team,
yeah.
if not the best player on your team, because they just
Unless
have so much responsibilities.
unless you're. I mean, for the Clippers, you would say probably Lou Williams is their third best player,
Yeah, and Lou
and
Williams is their point
he's
guard in the
their
fourth
point
quarter.
guard. Like yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. And
it's surprising.
yeah,
Like,
man. I gotta talk about Siakam a little bit more. Like I'm so mad. Like he was not as good as he was earlier in the season as the season went on, but this is the worst he's ever looked. This is worse than he looked last year by far, and probably like he looks like 2 years ago. Siakam right now. He
how I wouldn't go
okay,
that far.
maybe not 2 years ago, but I
Yeah,
don't know what it is. Like he did say that he didn't pick up a ball for 3 months, so maybe he's just rusty and out of basketball shape. But he's had a good 10, 12 games now to try to get back into that shape, and a lot of the other guys have done it. He's shooting the three, okay, but he just looks so not aggressive, and he can't even score against like Rodion's Kuruks for the I don't even know how
yeah.
to say that name for the Nets. Like he just I don't know what's going on with him right now. Early in the season, that would have been an easy 40-point game for him. Not even exaggerating on that. But now he looks like Fred VanVleet's better, Kyle Lowry's better, Norman Powell's better, uh, Serge Ibaka was better, and Gasol was better in that game. So he could be their
Oh,
sixth
I don't
best
know
player
about
right now.
Gasol. I don't know about Gasol. I
Maybe
think
I don't know the defense.
Gasol is also kind of scaring me in this playoff run too, because he cannot hit a shot to save his life.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know he didn't
he's
hit a lot of shots last playoff run,
overrated 3-point shooter.
but he still
Definitely.
hit shots, and the
He's
defender was
still
still close to him. You know what I mean?
uh-huh. Yeah.
Now it's like Jared Allen's just kind of like, okay, Gasol's gonna shoot that. Let him shoot
Mhm.
that. Let me just be playing behind the free throw line,
Mhm.
and I think that's just tough. And I don't think he. I really don't think he could close out games any more for us. I think it has to be Serge Ibaka.
Well, yeah, Ibaka is definitely the bigger offensive threat. And in a
Defensively,
series like
he's
if it was against the Celtics, I would say yeah, Ibaka
Ibaka
has to be
easy.
closing. But against
Yeah,
a team like the Bucks, I would probably still go with Gasol just for his defense
yeah,
in
but
passing and stuff. But
yeah, but
yeah,
if that lets
you're right. You're
If
right.
that lets Brook Lopez come in and paint, that's just going to be even tougher for Siakam,
Hmm.
who's already doing horrible in the bubble.
So bad. He's gonna average if they do end up playing the Bucks, he's gonna average
Like
6 points a game.
2 points.
However
Yeah,
however many threes he hits a game is
yeah.
going to be the number of points he averages because he's not scoring inside against the Bucks. It's just not happening.
He had 9 points last in game one of the playoffs. That wasn't from the free throw line. He had nine at the free throw line, nine not at the free throw
Yeah,
line.
and he hit at least 1 3. So
Yeah, he just sucked at finishing at the rim.
he does now. I don't know what happened. It's not even like they're hard doubling him. They're kind of like they're just showing a lot on him, and he just kind of gets scared and throws the ball away.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's got to put in even more work this offseason than he did last year. I think he's
Yeah.
because a couple months into the season, he looked like he could be the first option. Not maybe not on a championship team, but like on a conference finals team. But he's not even close.
Yeah.
He's like the fourth option right now, and this probably still will be a conference finals team. So I don't know. I don't even know how much it affects their championship hopes, but still.
The thing is now we need Van and Kyle Lowry to have a good game every single game because
Yeah,
the games that
you do.
don't have good games, they're gonna
Hundred
lose.
percent. hundred
Simple as
percent.
that.
I mean,
If Fred VanVleet
when you
is
make 8
not,
of 10 from 3
yeah,
like Van Vliet did, that's gonna help. But yeah.
yeah, like Fred VanVleet, he's the biggest winner from the Raptors
Mhm.
because I think he might get a $20 million contract
Yeah,
from like the Pistons because he is just amazing right
he's
now.
so
And
good.
like, man, he's I want to say he's the best Raptors right now
I think he is. I
because
think he's
his defense on Carlos LeVert was also really good to
so
start the game.
good. So
Yeah,
good. I think he's been the Kyle Lowry went off in the first couple games, but I think since then he's been the best Raptor. I think.
Kyle Lowry is the best defender
Mhm.
on the Raptors as like a team defender, as in help, covering a fast
He took
break,
3 charges in the first
switchings.
half, just in the
Yeah,
first half yesterday.
but Fred
So,
VanVleet is the best single player
yeah.
defender
Yeah.
on the Raptors. Just like period. Like
Mhm.
he just goes at the point guard, or even Carlos LeVert was like, correct me if I'm wrong, a small forward usually
Yeah.
when Kyrie and Dinwiddie were also playing. So like
Mhm.
he's 6 foot guarding small forwards. Like he's showing that he is a top tier defender. And in my opinion, him and Ben Simmons are favorites to get in first team defense next season.
Mhm.
Obviously, Fred VanVleet didn't play enough games in my opinion this season,
Yeah. Yeah.
but next season he's the favorite in my opinion. And man, like his defense is the most underrated thing
He
by
100%.
far.
He is one of the most underrated players in the league, and I
Hmm.
think that I think you're right. I think the opinion on Van Vliet is going to be a lot higher after the bubble and after the
Yeah,
playoffs. You're right. He could be playing into a $20 million deal right now.
yeah,
Yeah. And one more player who I think is actually kind of a loser is Anthony Davis because
really.
obviously I still think he's a top 5 6 player in the league, but you hear a lot of people talking right now, putting a lot of pressure on him, saying Davis has to step up in the big moments. LeBron needs Davis to average 30 if they're going to win a championship. And in their 4 losses, the Lakers struggled in the bubble, and in the 4 losses that Anthony Davis played in, he scored 14, 9, 17, and 8. So definitely not living up to his level of play. And I think there's he's not going to like he's obviously still a superstar, but I think he needs to play a little better than that, just or else he's going to be facing a lot of questions if the Lakers go down.
In my opinion, that was just bubble rest. Like the Lakers used the bubble as in, hey, we're incorporating these new guys into the
Mm-hmm.
roster because Avery Bradley's not playing anymore. Rajon Rondo's not playing game one. So let's get them like into the flow of the game playbook, into the flow of the game. Let's try to test out our lineups when LeBron's not on the floor. So
Mm-hmm.
like hopefully he doesn't have to play 48 minutes a game. I think the Lake Frank Vogel realized, oh no, I'm wrong. LeBron has to play 48 minutes a game. So
Yeah.
like I think they're just doing a lot of experimenting and testing that I'm not gonna say any of the Lakers players were losers or winners
Okay.
because it was just a bunch of testing that
I
Frank Vogel was doing.
I think you're right, but if he has a couple games like that in playoff losses, I think we're gonna be hearing his
Yeah,
name a lot more on ESPN and stuff
yeah.
like that.
I would
So,
be surprised though because Anthony Davis usually when he's in the playoffs, even the matchups he's lost, he kind of always succeeds and it's his teammates letting him down
mhm.
because Anthony Davis is just hyper aggressive. Like when he actually like is a game to win
Yeah.
because there's not really a singular person besides maybe Giannis that could individually match Anthony
Mhm.
Davis because
Nobody.
there's no one with that speed as 7 foot tall
Yeah. No.
besides Giannis.
You're right. That's like we need to see that from him because he's never really played in a game other than that one playoff series win against the Blazers that they had. He's never really played in a game that meant anything. So
Yeah,
yeah, hopefully we do see that in the big moments from him. And the most obvious loser. from this playoffs is the only guy who actually already lost his job, which is Alvin Gentry. The right
Yeah,
move. I think we all saw that coming from 10 miles away, but it's not really his fault.
kind of
But
unfair.
it was just a necessary
Yeah.
move.
When your team varies so much in the game,
Mhm.
this for the first 20 minutes, it'd be, or like for 20 minutes of the game when Zion's playing, it's let's feed the ball through Zion. Let's
Mhm.
get him as much touches. And then he's gone. The other 28 minutes you're playing
Yeah.
is let's feed the ball to Brandon Ingram and get him as much touches. It's just really weird.
I mean, I think everyone in the world knows that it was not Alvin Gentry's decision to play Zion in such weird spurts.
Yeah.
Um, but he's just kind of the scapegoat for all this. They made their move. They're probably not going to make any huge roster changes. They might, but yeah, I think we all saw this coming. Who do you think should be the guy who's the leading candidate for that job?
Kenny Atkinson. He's the best development player coach of all time.
Hmm.
Like, not of
Literally,
all
yeah,
time, obviously, but like on the market right now, he's the best.
yeah. So yeah, either for that job or for the Bulls, it's pretty much guaranteed
Yeah, he
that
should
he's going
be
to go
coaching
there.
next season. Yeah.
Yeah, he will be coaching, and yeah. So did you see anything from this Pelicans team in the bubble that makes you kind of less high on them for next year, or what?
Yeah, I don't know if Zion's ever going to be healthy.
Yeah, that's the one thing I take away. Other than Lonzo Ball, um, yeah, that's the one thing.
Yeah,
We
that's all I
we
have to say about like, because we didn't see this team. We saw
mhm
a team that didn't have Zion, in my opinion, and
mhm.
you know how much
I
an
agree.
impact he has. So like, I just want to see that Zion play. Like,
Yeah,
I think he wants to play so badly too. Like,
yeah.
if they don't let him play, he's gonna get angry and like he's eventually gonna like request
Mhm.
a trade even.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That could be coming sooner rather than later. And I think even though this, I don't know, this could be the one thing that you blame Gentry for is on a team that had Lonzo Ball, Drew Holiday, Brandon Ingram, and Derek Favors on the floor for a lot of the time. They could not stop anybody. They were just
Yeah.
so bad defensively, and that could be just the fact that they didn't play a lot of time together, especially with like Zion on the floor, off the floor, whatever. But that is a team that should be a lot better than that defensively, and hopefully they will be next year.
I just didn't like how that team was constructed because JJ Redick was also on that team
Mm-hmm.
and they were kind of playing JJ Redick at like shooting guard. So that means Drew Holiday kind of switched to the small forward spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't like Drew Holiday guarding small forwards
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Ingram guarding power forwards.
No, that's
So
fair.
it was just tough. I think they have to package some of those players and make the rotation more fluid because players like Nikhil Alexander Walker is a rotational player. Like
Mm-hmm.
if he's not in the rotation, like
Mm-hmm.
someone would love to take him off your hands for even a
Yeah,
late first round pick, in my opinion.
yeah, I
Like
agree.
if I was the Bucks, I would definitely offer like my first round pick to try to get him
Ooh.
because he's a great rotational player and
Mm-hmm.
he has a lot of trade value in my opinion. Still, Josh Hart is a sixth man in my opinion. He
Mm-hmm.
should be like a sixth man. Etwan Moore is now a free agent, but he was definitely hitting some big shots and he
Mm-hmm.
definitely a rotational player. I think Alvin Gentry had a weird assortment of talent where they're all undersized. So it was just tough. It was just
Yeah,
too
yeah, that's yeah,
tough.
yeah. It sucks for him. Hopefully, we'll see him coaching again at some point.
Hmm.
Um,
I
and
think we will.
yeah, another coach we already talked about him a lot, who's definitely a loser from this is Brett Brown. Like we said, he needs to be fired immediately.
Yeah.
They should fire him right now and just go grab Ty Lue from the Clippers
And the
bench and just
Clippers.
bring him over.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. Ty Lue's
he,
probably the biggest winner as a
yeah,
coach
you're right. You're
because
right.
he's guaranteed a job.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Nets, I cannot see him not coaching the Nets, in my opinion. Like him, Kyrie, Kevin Durant, all like that's just
He's the guy. Kyrie's gonna want him. So basically, whoever KD and Kyrie sign off on is who's the guy who's gonna be coaching
yeah.
right there. So that's all for my losers. Do you have anyone else?
Uh Rui Hachimura, in my opinion, was a loser as well
Really?
because he had so much potential as like the main option, and he
Mm-hmm.
just didn't do anything. Kind of like it just kind of sucked. Like in my
Yeah, they
opinion, he
did.
should have got like 30 shots a game and just let's see what he could do. But
Yeah,
he didn't get that opportunity.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's fair. I'm not gonna say that I watched a lot of Wizards bubble games, um, but I agree
yeah.
with that. So two winners that I actually forgot to mention, who aren't even in the bubble, I think are Avery Bradley and Bojan Bogdanovic. Because Avery
What?
Bradley, I don't think anyone's stock has gone up as much as his, saying Avery Bradley is everyone's saying he's the difference between the Lakers potentially losing the first round and winning a championship. So I think he looks a lot better, just all the attention he's been getting. And
Yeah, that's for sure.
Bogdanovic, the Jazz go from a team that could maybe have challenged for a second round, a good second round series, to being a potential first round sweep. I think
Yeah,
he looks pretty good because all that offensive responsibility falls on Donovan Mitchell's shoulders, and he's not going to be scoring 57 a night. So Bogdanovich looks pretty good.
yeah, I agree with both of those. But now that you mentioned players that are outside the bubble, I think we have to mention the biggest loser, Kevin Love,
Mm,
because I think the bubble showed that you cannot be a stretch four anymore. You have to be kind of 6'8", versatile,
mm-hmm.
basically a small forward. You basically need two small forwards
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
And I think Kevin Love is a center now.
He has to
And
be.
I don't think a center in Kevin Love is worth a first round pick, in my opinion. So I just see him being on the Cavs now for
Mm.
the remainder of his contract.
That's an interesting take. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's basically what we were saying. That's why T.J. Warren can play the four now. That's why Jason Tatum can play the four.
CJ, not Cam Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. Yeah, this bubble is kind of just confirming what we already knew: is that
yeah,
fours are just getting smaller and quicker. They're basically small forwards. You basically have two small forwards on the floor at all times now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's tough for, because I thought Kevin Love would be like a great addition to a team like the 76ers.
Mm.
But seeing that game one, if Kevin Love was there instead of Al Horford, Tatum might have had 55 points and it might have been like a big
Yeah.
blowout.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just can't see Kevin Love being on a
Mm-hmm.
championship contending team anymore as a power forward.
Yeah. I
I
agree
think
with that.
the only team that might take him on is the Houston Rockets as their center,
Now
which would be interesting.
that would be fun to watch. That would be
That would be
interesting.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be pretty cool. Yeah. So that does it for all my lists. There are sure to be a lot more winners and losers as these games go on.
Hmm.
I can't wait for this Blazers game tonight. We're
Yeah.
about 3.5 hours away from that right now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but we'll be back next week to talk more playoffs. There'll be a lot more games for us to talk about by then.
Yeah.
And yeah, I definitely can't wait. The Raptors series, we were right about that. Looks like it's probably going to be a sweep. We're already wrong about the Bucks,
The Bucks
um,
series. Yeah.
but we're looking pretty good on all our other picks so far.
So far.
Although
Yeah.
that Clippers game is a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But
We call that a sweep, and in my opinion, it could still be a sweep.
mm-hmm,
Just every game's gonna be a lot closer than we expected.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. But that does it for this episode. Thank you everybody for listening, and be sure to tune back next week when we're covering a whole other week of playoff basketball, and hopefully we don't look even worse after next week because we look
Hey.
pretty bad right now with that Bucks pick. But I don't know who else. I don't know who would
Yeah.
have picked the Magic to win that game one.
Yeah.
But I'm still pretty shook from that.
So far, we're only one pick off. I'll take
Yeah.
that for
So
now. I'll
far,
take
not so
it.
bad.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a 5 game series, or do you think the Magic can take one more?
I'm saying it's still a 5 game series.
Yeah, it has to
I'm
be.
not. I can't see the Bucks losing again.
Yeah, yeah,
Giannis
it
is
has to be.
averaging 45 the rest
Yeah,
of the games.
yeah. I hopefully. I mean for them, but yeah. So hopefully at by next week, that take doesn't sound too bad. But
Yeah.
we'll just have to see. All right. Thank you.